Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Easy Chemistry. Today we'll be talking about the main topic would be hydrocarbons. So hydrocarbons जब हम बोलते हैं, we clearly understand that these are carbon compounds found primarily between carbon and hydrogen. However, let me assure you that only carbon and hydrogen are not involved. We have secondary elements like sodium, fluoride group, etc. However, we are primarily concerned with carbon and hydrogen bondings and compounds. Now, as you must be aware by now, that this has a sp4 orbital configuration, which means 1, 2, 3, 4. It can have 4 electrons donated or shared or gained. However, the word donated, gained does not apply in the case of carbon. The reason for the same being, if carbon donates its 4 electrons, it will be electron deficient and then the nucleus of the carbon atom will not be stable at all. By the time we are performing any kind of a experiment, the carbon nucleus would cease to exist. So similarly, it can only share electrons. Now, sharing of electrons takes place in one particular way, which has sigma bonds. How apart from the sigma bond, the other bonds like the ionic bonds, valent bonds, covalent bonds. Now, this covalent bond and this sigma bond refer to the same bond, which is sharing of electrons. By the way the electrons are shared, that way the carbon atom also exists in stability and the other atom with which it is sharing electrons also exists in stability. Okay. So now the concern is, say, why did I mention sigma bond? I mentioned sigma bond here because any element having a sigma bond is very unstable. Reason being, they have a weak van der Waals forces. The weak van der Waals forces refers to force between nuclear plus or up to the external boundary. The bigger the distance between the nucleus and the external boundary of the electron, the weaker the van der Waals forces become. And that's the reason why we ensure that the electron is always shared by carbon, because the distance between carbon nucleus and the external orbit of carbon is slightly longer. So they also have a weak van der Waals force. Okay, so since I was talking about the fact that the distance between the nucleus of carbon atom and external wall is less, so in order to prevent the collapse of the carbon nucleus, we need to be in a sharing mode. Sharing mode means the bond energy cannot be higher. That is why carbon and hydrogen bond through a sigma bond. The reason of bonding through sigma bond is the bond energy is lower, and even at a normal temperature of, let's say, 395 Kelvin, the bond can be broken down. However, that does not happen at all. So, Bachcho, now coming to the next point, hydrocarbon family can be divided into alkane, alkene, alkyne. These are the primary members of the family. Secondary members would be alkyl halide, ethyl halides, any organic compound which is reacting with a halogen group or a metallic or a non-metallic or even a metalloidic group is liable to produce a secondary member or a tertiary member in the hydrocarbon family. Now, children, you must have heard a lot about the fact that this is a saturated hydrocarbon, this is an unsaturated hydrocarbon. Let me try and make you understand what is a saturated and what is an unsaturated hydrocarbon. Okay, so students, when you go and tell your parents that you want a, let's say, a new mobile phone. Now, and when they buy you a new mobile phone, you see that there's a lot of features in it, but that's it. You cannot download any new application or any new feature. You'll be upset. Those kind of systems wherein the system is already full and a third user or a third person or a third element cannot be added to the bonding is called a saturated hydrocarbon. Now, unsaturated. Coming to the world of artificial intelligence or coming to other any other Android new issues which so you must be aware that Android phones or Android computers in the coming ages or coming years will give you complete freedom to redesign or to design the Android for your own phone or computer. So that means you can customize it according to your needs. Such kind of a customization when available is termed as a unsaturated hydrocarbon. The reason why I'm comparing both the facts is when I talk about an unsaturated hydrocarbon, then I tell you that there's a slight possibility that the halide or the metal or metalloids can be accepted into the family. Pause. Katna. So, as I was talking to you, that unsaturated compound or unsaturated element is such an element which allows other coexisting elements to come forward and join into it. So similarly, then you will see that they are also classified as aromatic rings. The reason they are called aromatic rings are they have a benzene formation within the carbon bonding. Also, I'll come across to you with with a very nice and a unique, so good to know information. Alkanes sometimes are called as paraffins. Paraffin is a Latin word which means less affinity. Thereby, when we say that hydrocarbons or especially alkanes are not so reactive, they are less reactive, so that is why they were also called paraffins. However, alkanes being the master members of the family, they are there in every compound. As I told you earlier, that every compound has a percent of alkane in it.